What is the logical flaw in a movie that still bugs you? Story 1. Ranted about it before and will rant about it again, but Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is an idiot. Lots of Disney characters are dumb, but she takes the cake. Never mind that she bargains her freedom and abandons her family to pursue an interspecies relationship with a fish eater she knows nothing about, or that the person she makes the deal with is clearly evil as heck. No, it's her literary abilities that make her the dumbest princess. Ariel can write. She signs her name, and beautifully, for her deal with Ursula. As soon as Eric found her, she could have written down everything in the sand. But nope, better stick a fork in my hair instead. Stupid fish girl. I rewatched some of The Little Mermaid recently, and what struck me is her fascination with human culture before meeting Eric. She keeps a cave full of artifacts and displays a real interest in how they do things. Falling in love with the first attractive person of the race she idolizes seems a natural extension of that obsession with the culture. You know, that never occurred to me. It's very true that she can write. She absolutely could have written down everything she wanted to say. She could have explained everything. I don't think Eric is the kind of person that would be prejudiced towards a mute person. I wonder if Disney is going to explain that away in the remake. Story 2. Star Trek remake. Spock races to a dying giant star to try and stop it from exploding using a top-secret device. Fails to get there in time, and the star explodes, resulting in the destruction of Romulus, the Romulan homeworld. Romulans capture Spock and blame him for the death of their world. Antics ensue, and the Romulans wind up back in time with the device. Do they use the device on the dying star in the past to prevent the destruction of their homeworld in the future, or use the device as a weapon in the name of revenge? One could argue that revenge is a very powerful emotion, and it would demonstrate them as an emotional race compared to the Vulcans. In this case, though, I think self-preservation would still win over that kind of feeling. It still wouldn't explain why everyone in this other universe that was created looks different from the ones in the original series. Nice try in explaining it, though. Story 3. Minority Report. Tom Cruise is a top cop framed for a murder he didn't commit. He's being hunted, so he swaps his eyeballs to avoid retina scans. With me so far, camera guy? So he gets caught anyway and thrown into prison. No biggie, because his friends bust him out using his old eyeballs to open the locks on the prison. After all, he was the top cop and had all kinds of security access. That apparently wasn't taken away when he was being hunted, captured, and imprisoned. Ah, yes. A system designed to prevent crime. A very expensive system to prevent crime. One that spares no expense to try and prosecute criminals before everything happens. I say that's probably the reason why the rest of the criminal system is so lagging, and that the guy that's in prison was not logged as being a criminal, therefore being able to use the eyeballs to unlock the prison cell. Bureaucracy had to shuffle the budget around a bit. Story 4. Nuclear power description in nearly every movie with nuclear power in it. People screaming, "The reaction is going critical!" Okay, that just means it's starting up. We'll have to flood the coolant into the control room in order to cool down the core. What butthole designed that system? Containment is breached. It'll be hours before we can start up. Containment is the freaking building that holds the reactor. If you've breached that thing, you don't have a plant. You've got a bunch of radioactive scrap. Oh my gosh, this internal combustion engine is filled with fire. Story 5. Pretty much half of Star Trek episodes. Klingons are superior to us in close quarters and at knife fighting, so we're going to let them get as close as possible and engage them in hand-to-hand combat after they board us. Much of the first season of the original series could be prevented by setting up a proper quarantine of returning away teams. This seems like something that would be standard protocol on a ship that interacts with alien planets on a regular basis. Story 6. War of the Worlds. First of all, the aliens planned the invasion centuries in advance. Why? They were already superior in every way. Many say it was to wait until the population was larger. Do we wait while cows and chickens roam in the wild and multiply? No, we breed them. Second, an ingenious plan spanning thousands of years by a spacefaring civilization somehow does not include the possibility the other planet may have a hostile environment, because that's unheard of. There are those people that believe we're not alone in this world, in this universe even. They just avoid us because we're just that violent. I also think it was Men in Black that said human thought was actually viewed as a virus by some aliens. Story 7. Anytime someone gets CPR in a movie and is perfectly fine 10 seconds later. No puking, no cracked sternum or ribs, no brain damage, no short or long-term medical impact at all. Just, oh yeah, you were dead for a couple of minutes there, but now everything is fine. Let's go fist fight some bad guys. And on the same page, someone gets clocked over the head and is unconscious for a few minutes. They get up, rub their head, and go on like it was nothing. If you were hit hard enough to be out, you aren't getting up that quick. Story 8. That stupid freaking microwave weapon in Batman Begins. Surely if it was powerful enough to vaporize the water system of an entire freaking city, it would just vaporize all of the city's inhabitants as well, who all happen to be 65% water. And they are pouring the toxins into a water main. Water mains are under pressure. They're not gravity pipes. If you want to break open a water main to pour chemicals in, water would literally spray everywhere, and there would be a massive flood. Story 9. In movies, a good guy is surrounded by 6 to 10 bad guys. Those 6 to 10 bad guys are nice enough to attack him one at a time and wait their turn instead of trying to beat the mob down, in which they all attack at once. Watch some of Jackie Chan's older movies like Police Story. He says that he specifically addressed this problem in his fight scenes. In the mall fight scene in Police Story, he's literally attacked by 4 or 5 people all at once. This whole trope of 6 or 10 bad guys attacking one at a time is literally the whole basis of a video game genre, the beat-em-up game. You're surrounded by all these enemies and maybe 2, maybe 3 attack at once. You can understand for the game. It wouldn't be fun if everyone ganged up on you all at once. It would be short. But yeah, Jackie Chan did address that problem in Police Story. Definitely check that movie out. Story 10. Frickin' magic stealth helicopters. You know that scene where the heroes are standing next to a cliff and everything is fine until a helicopter suddenly appears from nowhere surprising our hero? It shouldn't happen. Helicopters are darn loud, but so many films trick us by hiding something from us the viewer and treating it as hidden from the characters. In the fiction of the film, they aren't hearing the dramatic music. They should be hearing deadly whirring helicopter blades. Story 11. The long runway in Fast and Furious 6. Seriously, it goes on forever. Fast and Furious is not the place for logic. It's the world dreams are made of. Whenever you watch those movies, do it in the mindset of a 10-year-old playing with Hot Wheels. I promise you, you will enjoy them. The blatant physics frickery is 80% of what I love about those movies. The other 20% is a combination of Michelle Rodriguez and The Rock blasting people in the face out of nowhere. Story 12. Pacific Rim. They knew about the rift. Humans weren't just like, whoa, sometimes monsters show up. They knew exactly where every monster came from. So why did they scatter the Jaegers around the world to try to defend major cities instead of just parking the entire fleet right outside the rift where they can instantly overwhelm any new kaiju with sheer numbers? Everyone hates spawn campers. The admin would have kicked them. I think there's a little bit of national pride involved in the answer there. There might be some countries that even though they put in the money to build these giant robots, they'd still be mad that they were going to some other country, even though they would be better used there. People would complain, why isn't this big thing being used to defend our land? Why are we defending some other people's? That's about the only thing I could come up with. But yeah, the smart move would be to spawn camp the rift. Story 13. 99% of the time when someone is running away from a car or a boulder or something, they can just turn left or right and be out of harm's way. But no, they must run in a straight line and try to outrun it. Annoys the hell out of me. This was okay for the first Indiana Jones movie. He's in a narrow hallway, and as soon as he isn't, he dives to the side. The rest of the movies just copy the action without the prerequisites. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video, and have a wonderful day. Story 4. Prometheus. How the 2 guys get lost in the spaceship when they have a map of the entire place, and one of them is an expert geologist. Also, the biologist being scared of a dead alien, but wanting to pet the angry-looking willy alien. Also, donut-shaped ship falling. Keep running in the direction it's falling. Also, give birth to an alien baby. Doesn't mention it to anyone. Story 15. Guy with no training and only a pistol? Room full of elite trained mercenaries with machine guns, all unalived. It's like the conservation of ninjutsu. Less people equals more people. A ragtag team of 5 unique individuals will beat any army of bad guys. The lone evil bad guy in black will cut through the base full of good guys like butter. In the 80s, there used to be training montages. We don't even get those anymore. It does feel like Americans unlock their innate Second Amendment capabilities as soon as they lay hands on a gun, even if they've never used one before. We don't have time for gun safety videos. We have to get right to the action. Story 16. Well, any Christmas movie where Santa is involved. In these universes where the film is set, Santa exists, right? So why the frick does none of the parents believe in him when a bunch of presents and stuff turn up in the living room every Christmas Eve and they know for a fact that it wasn't them? It's just a massive plot hole that Christmas movies always ignore. Story 17. If Picard can leave the Nexus and arrive at any point in time, why not go back to when Soren was first beamed aboard Enterprise as a refugee? Because that plan doesn't involve the timely resurrection of one Captain James T. Kirk, who then goes forth to engage in an old man fight with Soren. Story 18. Casper. Exorcist and daughter get hired to remove ghosts by owner and owner's lawyer. Owner and lawyer perish shortly after under mysterious circumstances. No investigation is done. Exorcist and daughter just gets the house? No questions asked? It's all fun and games until you realize Casper is an unalived child. That last part is a question that has been unanswered for a long time. You're talking about something that was a comic book and a cartoon for kids. No one addresses the idea that this is a kid. How did Casper unalive in the first place? That's the movie I want to see. Story 19. Rats don't constantly squeak. They only squeak when surprised or in pain. Dubbing cats meows when their mouths aren't even moving. The text on the computer screen makes computery sounds. Story 20. Ferris couldn't have gone to all those locations in Chicago without a transporter, and he still would have gotten stuck in rush hour traffic back to the suburbs. Not if he had "Oh Yeah" playing the whole time. Whenever I need to get somewhere fast, I play that song and time will slow down. Story 21. Any scene in a bar. Characters order drinks and take one sip, then leave. Why aren't you finishing your $7 drink? I'll have a beer. We have about 17 different kinds of beer. You see this in restaurant scenes as well. Person takes one bite and then leaves. Also, you see them leave straight away. They just toss a few bucks on the table. They never get hassled by the waiters or anybody working there that they haven't paid their check, or that they have to pay the check through the cashier. We get that the boring parts of life have been cut out to make room for an exciting movie, but it's just unrealistic. Story 22. That somehow a perfectly fitted exoskeletal suit built for a 6'1" athletic male fits every gosh darn person in the Iron Man movies. Colonel Rhodes? Check. Overweight president? Check. Tiny little pepper pots? Frick it. Why not? Story 23. When doctors hit someone with paddles when they don't have a heartbeat. You do not do this under any circumstance. Chest compressions for someone without a heartbeat. Paddles for someone with an irregular heartbeat. Story 24. Most of the zombie plagues we see in movies would last a matter of days at best. Zombies are basically humans, minus all the evolutionary advantages humans have over other animals. There are exceptions to this, but it's true with the classic shambling zombie. I think we assume that becoming a zombie gives you super strength or super durability even though you're falling apart and looking like it. You'd think that zombies would live less than the average human, simply because they're decaying. How does a zombie survive when they haven't eaten for so long? Eventually, they have to fall apart. Story 25. The Da Vinci Code. Bad guy has gun pointed at good guys. Cut to a couple birds flying. Good guys escape. This is the most what the hell moment I've ever seen. Hey, look at those birds! Run! Story 26. Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other 5? Pfft, that's just typical. This just goes to show women are from Omicron Persei 7, men are from Omicron Persei 9. Story 27. People waking up with obvious makeup on and nice hair. One of the funniest things in Bridesmaids is when she gets up to put makeup on, then gets back into bed and pretends to wake up. I think there are a few other movies that have played to this type of trope, not just Bridesmaids. I think I remember the first episode of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel getting up, putting on makeup well before her husband woke up, and then getting back into bed before he wakes up. That was a great scene and made a powerful statement. Almost no one in movies wakes up with bedhead. Story 28. The Wizard of Oz. Oh, water will literally melt my entire being? Better keep buckets of it laying around my palace. She was planning her invasion of Earth with the other demons. Story 29. School of Rock. The whole time I was watching it, I was just thinking about how all those kids were going to have to repeat the grade because of some jerkwad who couldn't hold down a job. Story 30. Guy walks into a bar. 20-to-1 girl-to-guy ratio, even at the crummiest bars. Every cute girl is single and just waiting for the main character to stop being so shy and marry her. Ooh, that one hits close to home. Even dive bars have one attractive person that the protagonist is obviously going to talk to. It's kind of like anime where you can tell who the protagonist is going to be because they have pink or blue or purple hair. You can just tell who it's going to be. Story 31. A cell phone that can kill you? Why not just take the battery out? Well, maybe it was about how our culture is addicted to technology and stuff. Story 32. Every action movie ever. Bad guy fires 10,000 rounds. Hit nobody. Good guy diving through plate glass window fires 6 rounds. 6 unalivings. Story 33. Anytime a hand, arm, leg, head, body part gets chopped off, where's the blood? All the lost blood from every movie wound up in Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. Oh, that's so true. I think that movie actually set a record for the most blood used in a single scene. If you don't know about this movie and are looking it up, be warned. This is not Lord of the Rings. This is Peter Jackson's roots in horror. People of certain dispositions and stomachs will be able to handle that movie. Story 34. Happens in many movies, but I noticed it most recently in As Above, So Below. Ancient text gets translated, somehow rhymes in English. Story 35. I want to know what kind of transmissions are in the Fast and Furious cars. 27 upshifts and still grabbing more gears. Story 36. Guy shoots car, explosion. In American Psycho, he looks at his pistol in extreme disbelief. Oh, let's not forget that everybody walks away from an explosion and they don't even get affected from it at all, even though there's heat and debris going in their direction. Some people say that the explosion and Christian Bale's character looking at the gun in disbelief is proof that nothing in that movie actually happened. That doesn't explain all the other explosions in the movies, or maybe it does. Maybe all those other ones are just delusions of all these action film movies, and these action movie stars are just all delusional and just imagining all this stuff happening. Story 37. 40 Days and 40 Nights ends in an S assault. No one in the movie seems to mind. Story 38. Sounds in space. I like it when movies get this right. There are a very few that hold true to sound not going on in space. The Firefly movie and TV series got this one right. I would argue that some of the scenes where action happens or something explodes was more impactful because you couldn't hear the sound. I think those scenes were also contrasted by very different music. There are a lot of space movies that would probably be boring if you actually took the sound out of space. Story 39. Cinderella. If the shoe fits so goddamn good, how did it fall off? Story 40. Do zombies poop? They eat plenty. Why is there no zombie poop? Story 41. Let's track this person by satellite. Dang, it's cloudy. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.